All right. Had to thought I had paused the camera, but I hadn't. So cut your styrene into two halves. Make sure your ring is nice and flat. I had to go tap mine down a minute ago. And if I'm embedding it into the foam, and I'm constantly kind of posing this so it's nice and even. I want to go just enough so it goes in a little bit, but I want to give it a neck bend. So an error I made some of my earlier puppets and hold it steady. Make sure it doesn't move. And we're going to trim a little channel into the styrene. Now so far I'm liking this foam as well as a part, so I could do that with the head too. I could shape this into a head shape, and definitely that works too, for sure. All right, knife here. So let's a little V groove should be enough. So cut a little V in to start, and again it's gonna crush the foam if you don't saw sometimes. So you just gotta kind of go slow and wiggle it a little. A little bit of sawing action should be enough to prevent it from just crushing the foam in. And go all the way around the V. And yeah, I don't know, crushing it a little bit's not going to hurt. I have not carved a ton of this Cyrene foam. I've been more with the nicer professional EVA foam, so this is not quite as slick with this material yet. Right. If we're making 50 puppets, because there's 25 students in class, and each person's making two. That's 50 puppets we're making in this semester. That's pretty cool, pretty awesome accomplishment. So we'll all learn a lot. All right, there we go. So again, this is not my favorite material, so I want to keep that off out of my workspace. And let's see if this embeds enough now. It has to be flat. We can't um, rush this part too much. So we got to make sure there isn't a big gap at the bottom there. So I think for this one, yeah, I want to make sure that this has a gap. So I'm going to flip it over the other side, set it down, and I want to, at least at the neck here where the thread is angled, I know for sure it's going to stick up there. So I'm just going to bring it this other side and maybe just a tiny, tiny bit of inset would be preferable. All right, there we go. Make sure my thumb's not right behind the blade as I'm pressing. It'll give suddenly, right? That's what you want to be careful of. It's really easy for the blade to come free suddenly, and then if your flesh is behind it, your flesh gets chopped. So okay, so I guess worth marking again, back and front, just in case it matters. Um, Lay this down nice and flat. Hole. Carve away any extra foam that needs to be carved. Oh yeah, it feels free. So that's gonna be plenty a range of motion. As long as I'm careful in the shoulders here, it should be okay. So this character is technically not gonna have um, much of a neck at all. All right, so for this one, we want to use the JB Quick JB Weld. And while I'm at it, I'm going to I'm going to add a little bit up around these cracks and crevices because remember the barges is to keep it flexible so that it bends and flexes a lot. The JB Quick is not as nearly as flex. It has a little flex to it, but it's not, like the steel stick or anything, but it is pretty solid. It's gooey, but it stiffens up good. So you want this to be stiff. I don't want this to be wiggling and rubbing back and forth inside the foam and coming free. So I'm going to add a little bit in there, also and here maybe up in these little grooves, just so that way if this is inside. Oh, I guess the steel stick's okay there at the edge. That one, those ones end of the steel stick. These ones that don't have a steel stick binding agent at the end here. So this one's, I guess, is the one I'm most worried about it wiggling around in there. All right, so let's get the JB Quick mixed up and we'll come back. I'll be right back. Okay, so this is a larger demo, so I get a little extra out. And yeah, it does help to have the back and the front marked just in case I forget. So see, grab a chunk of this stuff to start. Popsicle sticks. There we go. And if the part area I mix is kind of close to where I started, you got to be careful not to have a bunch of unmixed stuff in there. So kind of wipe, kind of scrape away from the two parts and make sure that the mixed areas is truly mixed. All right, there we go. Let's see, this is the back. Get the nice and deep into the groove. Down around that neck area especially. Don't want that to be weak. Enough around the outer edge. I'm going to go and it wipes off the popsicle stick quite nicely. This stuff is pretty nasty, so you've all worked with it a bit now. So just keep it away from all your anything precious. Yeah, it's not enough, so I'm gonna grab another big chunk of it here. I think it is anyway. We'll see. And I don't really want this grooves attaching to that wire. I think is going to be key. Maybe enough to make sure there's some on both sides. There we go. Put that in there. And grab the two sides and squeeze them together. There we go, Charlie Brown. Press nice and strong. A little wiggle. Whoa, not sticking. Oh well, not at all. I wonder if I should tape it up. Yeah, well, it's still wet, right? Ah, don't get it on my mat. No, I got it on my mat. Should have had newspaper down. Darn. Now it gets all over. Okay, newspaper doesn't show up as nicely on camera, but all good. All right, let's do a healthier amount here and make sure that this head is not going to come loose in production. You see I did a little tiny pinhole in there. Let's make that a little bigger. I err on the side of having a smaller pinhole because I didn't want it going all over the place. So at a certain point, make it big enough so that it comes out comfortably. I hold it up off the surface too, so that way I can kind of give it a little pull up. Same thing on this side. Make sure that you're roughly equal. Isn't to be perfect, but you want to be really close as you're doing this. Let's see, make sure that I don't get it all over the thread. See, it's nice and clean. You guys are being clean so far. Okay, so I'm mixing up enough of this to finish attaching the head, right? So we have a nice big tube of the stuff. So let's just overdo it. Why don't we? Just a little bit. Yeah. And newspaper is down. Yeah, I haven't done a big one like this in a while, so I was like kind of not being careful enough. But yeah, this is messy, messy. I should have gloves on. Keep saying that. Go put some gloves on. There we go. There's nice and gooey and gummy. Cool. And if I want, yeah, see, it's gonna get on stuff if you're not careful with this gray stuff, and get more of this one here. There we go. Get yours really mixed up good. Overdo it if you're not certain. And it said 6 minute working time. So at this point now, I just had to pause. I got interrupted, but I got to hustle or this stuff ain't gonna, it's gonna set before it sticks. And you don't want that to happen. So, okay, make sure I remember where my marks are from where I had the pen. It's pretty easy to see where the groove is on the backside one. Squish it down in there, grab the front one, make sure I know where my little hole's going to be for the armature wire, and squeeze. Now we're good. That's enough. And so it'll shift back and forth. It's okay. Wiggling inside of there, maybe at a certain point it's going to start stiffening up, so stop wiggling it, and then take the rest of this and finish up what I was talking about, which is maybe if I didn't get the steel stick where I wanted it to the first time, let's put that in there, the hip area, and see if that prevents it from wiggling around too much. We shall see. I have no idea. Kind of. But yeah, problem solving skills, like figuring this stuff out as you go, is should be hopefully exciting. When you learn how to do this, you can make almost anything, any kind of puppet that moves with these materials. This is going to have a professional skeleton, at least, that's for sure. Yeah, see, the mixing in the stuff that's hardening with the newer one, that's probably not the best idea. You probably want to kind of evenly finish up the first batch and then do the next one when you're doing this kind of stuff. But I'm just kind of hustling her, so use up what I got. Okay, and then if I've scraped everything I can off of there, set that thing out of the way safely, out of the way, and then I can continue here. And yeah, I think that's going to work pretty well, quite nicely. Yeah, I got a little extra there. Come around the side over here. And let that stiffen up. Now, while I'm doing that, um, I might have shifted the head. I got some on my arm. See, it might have shifted that head just a tiny bit. No, not too bad. So as soon as you see any on you, wipe it off immediately, or you're going to get it on your clothes and your phone and your equipment. So just a couple of drops there. Biggie, all your tools, you can even give those a wipe too and set them over to the side. Um, just so I know, safe. I always keep a pack of baby wipes around shop anyway. from the dad days, the little kid days. There we go. All right. And yeah, that's pretty darn good. Yeah, I'm not too worried about the arms because we had that steel stick in there. Oh yeah, I got on the paper. That's where it's at. I don't see. So I'm just going to leave this for a little bit, and we're going to start working on building up the foam buildup.